Okay, so we have the Wonderbowl. We have 3 cats, 2 males that eat a ton, and 1 female that likes to graze. And so we got this bowl for the female because she can never keep her food around long enough to actually get to eat. The problem is, like everybody else though, is that the lid wants to close on her head. She really doesn't care. She just holds her head in there until the collar reads it again, and then the lid opens back up. And so it doesn't really bother her as much as it bothers us, because it makes this really loud clicking sound at about 2 a.m. and wakes everybody up. So I've kind of played with it, tried to look online for what people have done. And the best solution, someone mentioned if it could do reverse. So basically it stayed open all the time and only closed when the collar came near it. But first I tried the other solutions that were to add sensors or move sensors. I tried those with no luck. She's such a fluffy cat that the fur and everything basically covers the sensor and it just can't see it. So what I ended up doing was the latter of the two, plug it in here. And as you notice, mine will always stay open, and whenever the cat comes near it, it'll close. So I basically reversed it. So we'll go ahead and I'll kind of show you the insides. So if you take the bottom off, here's a battery cover. There's 6 screws. Take the bottom off. These are the battery wires that'll be connected to the board. I disconnected them because they were getting in my way, and we don't use a battery anyways. So if you take it off, here's what the bottom looks like. This is the main board that everyone probably sees on the back. It just sits right there. So what you have is your 3 sensors. So 1, 2, 3. And then on the inside, actually, there's 2 additional sensors, which are attached to these posts, and they are facing this way. I don't know why they put them on the inside. That's these 2 sensors. So what I did is I took them off of those posts. I took them off of these posts and moved them. I drilled a hole and I moved them to the outside. So now they're pointing up. The little dome is pointing up, reading the sensor. That did not work. The lid, it would close on her less, but it would still close on her. So it was better, but not the fix. These sensors were also kind of, if you take them out, if you take one out, I can show you here in a second. They are also kind of leaned, the way that they build this, they're kind of leaned back. It's a little bit of a problem. So what I did, or sorry, they're leaned forward, I leaned them back. So I basically bent them back to try to pitch them up more. So they were leaned forward, which means they were pointed kind of more straight into the bowl. I leaned them back to kind of point them up away from the bowl to try to help see her collar through her fur. So I leaned all of them back. So these 2 are pointed up and in, and this one is pointed up and out. And it helped. And then I moved these 2 off of the base and drilled them through and just hot glued them to the side here, as you can see. And so I did all that with the sensors. We used it for a little bit. It still kept closing on our head, so that was annoying me. It wasn't the answer. So let me go ahead and reattach this sensor. So basically, while I'm doing this, what we did someone mentioned on, I think, Amazon's reviews that it would be good if it could be reversed, and I agreed with that. So I went ahead and tried to figure out how I could reverse this. And I think I mean, it's come up with a solution so far. It's kind of funny to watch our male cats. They are tempted to go to the food. They think it's just an open bowl waiting for them, and then they go and stick their head in and it closes on them. It might be a little, it's kind of funny, but at the same time it's kind of not. I feel kind of bad for them, but oh well, it's our female cat needs to eat. So the motor is DC, so basic electricity. If you reverse the polarity on a DC motor, it goes the other direction. So these are the 2 leads to the motor right here, these orange and green ones. But you can't just as simply reverse them because these back down in here are switches that tell it where it's at. So when it opens all the way, it hits one switch. When it closes all the way, it hits another switch. So it knows the motor, what the full travel is. So I had to reverse these, so I cut them, flipped them, soldered them together, so green goes to orange and orange goes to green now. And then This might take a little time, but I'll show you these switches. So there's 4 screws in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 screws in here. Let me go ahead and get them loosened up. And don't worry, I'm always worried about little springs and stuff. This is like a packaged unit, this motor assembly. You can take it into a bunch of pieces, but there's no gears and stuff that fall out. So don't be worried about that. And if you drop a screw, it's easily just to dump it out. Okay, so here's the motor assembly. Let me go ahead and catch these screws. I got one down on the bottom. So here's the motor assembly. As you notice, the lid is free now. This is what's holding it. So this gear right here has to match up with the gear with the teeth there. So if it's fully closed, make sure it's fully closed, disconnect the motor, and when you go to put it back together, make sure it's fully closed and put the motor back on time. So these little switches right here, they're just 1 screw holding it in. I just flipped them. So the brown and black was over on K1 and the blue and black was over on K2. I flipped them now, so now blue and black's on K1 and brown and black's on K2. And if you look on the little board here, it has K1 and K2. So mine are opposite what the board says. So now when it thinks that the door, when it's doing the reverse and opening the door, it will hit the open switch. And when it shuts the door, it'll hit the shut switch. And that'll kind of get you the desired result of the thing will always be open now for our female cat. And it won't close on her head anymore. And then I'm gonna have to put this together later. But so I could have just done that to begin with and not move these extra sensors. That probably would have been better because now my bowl has sensors hanging out the side. But I tried that step first. That didn't get the result, so then I went ahead and flipped it. So now our door is all the way open. And when the male cats wear the collar, the female cat doesn't have to wear the collar anymore, which is good because we tried even trimming the hair around her neck to help. We like buzzed around her neck to try to make it, but still it would just, she would bend her neck and move and twist to eat, and she'd come at it from all sides. We didn't have a good way to make her come straight on. So it just always seemed to keep trying to close on her. Even we tried the bowl really full. We tried the bowl empty. I put something inside the bowl to help fill it up more. So it was like the lid was almost touching it. She would be eating fine and it would still try to close on her. I think she was just too furry for the collar. We tried the collar hanging down. We tried it latched onto the collar. We've tried them all. And it still kept closing and closing. So this is the only thing that has gotten us to where it does not close on her because she's not even wearing the collar anymore. And now the boy cats are the ones wearing the collar. So I hope this helps somebody. Hope somebody else can figure out what they want to do with their Wonderbowl. We enjoy it. It helps keep her fed and the boys skinny. And now it seems to be kind of the answer has been solved, at least for us. Hope this helps somebody. Bye.